2018 McLaren 720S Coupe Review. The good points of McLaren 720S Coupe. Showcases bold new McLaren design language. Useful luggage area behind rear seats. V8 enlarged to 4.0 litres and 720 horsepower. New carbon chassis allows easier access. Excellent ride and handling from revised suspension. The bad points of McLaren 720S Coupe. Disappointingly muted exhaust note as standard. Carbon ceramic brakes require strong legs in normal use. Aggressive styling won't be to all or any tastes. Substantially more costly than rivals. McLaren 720S Coupe may be the first of a fresh wave of supercars through the fastest growing British supercar manufacturer. Replacing the 650S Coupe, the vehicle that evolved from McLaren's comeback performance car, the MP412C, the 720S heralds the second generation of offerings under its Super Series umbrella. That means it sits during McLaren's range, relating to the Sports Series models that also includes the 570S, and Ultimate Series Halo cars, just like the replacement for that P1, which can be currently in development. Key rivals add some Ferrari 488 and Lamborghini Huracan, though the McLaren features a couple of key advantages over both, no less than for show-offs. One would be the carbon chassis McLaren uses as opposed to the aluminium typically expected with this price point. The other is its trademark upward opening dihedral doors. Radical actively seeks the McLaren 720S Coupe. Another, based on your taste, is usually a bold new design language which enables every other car inside class seem desperately conservative. Those controversial eye socket headlamps, for example, be used as air intakes. The job of lighting the trail is looked after by a slim bar of LEDs that hovers on top of the chasm. Air intakes you'd be ready to see feeding the backside mounted radiators on the supercar are hidden behind an extra door skin. McLaren 720S Coupe now is easier to live with. The result can be a car that appears outrageously impractical, much more fact it's arguably essentially the most usable contender in the class. The new carbon chassis structure comes with a radically lower sill, much like the 570S, meaning it's much simpler to get in and from than the 650S ever was. And the doors open high, but stay near to the body, requiring 155mm less room per side than before, making parking in tight spaces a lot easier. Building its case further, the 720S also manages a rather impressive 26 miles per gallon and will be offering a surprising level of luggage space, not only inside the front, that's good for two aircraft cabin-sized rolling cases, but behind the seats too. Watch your cargo involving the two areas and you've got more space than inside boot of your Ford Focus. With its clever suspension incorporating hydraulic roll control, the 720S also rides along with, otherwise better than, the mainstream Ford overall, however the sharpest intrusions. The 650S was famed because of its composure too, however the newcomer's next generation version in the suspension system employs more sensors to aid it react more rapidly to changes inside the road and improve comfort and handling. Enthusiastic drivers step in this way. Compared together with the 650S, there's a meatier feel to your beautifully communicative steering on account of revised front axle geometry that massively improves stability under hard braking. Use all on the performance and you'll do plenty of that. McLaren has stuck using the 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox but enlarged the twin-turbo V8 from 3.8 to 4.0 litres, pushing power in the 650 horsepower of that predecessor to 720 horsepower, hence the name. Getting from rest to 62 miles per hour takes just 2.8 seconds, and 100 miles per hour requires only 7.8 seconds, weighed against 3.0 and 8.3 inside the rival Ferrari 488, partly considering that the traction is very strong, despite the fact that power is channeled solely through the back wheels. With a lot power on tap though, there's an abundance of scope for damaging the tire's grip on the highway, and it's something even drivers who aren't as well versed in high-speed car control can experience utilizing the drift control feature. Essentially an adjustable threshold escape system, it's adjusted by sliding your finger all over the place across a graphic around the multimedia screen. The verdict. Supposing you be seduced by the bold styling, a comment flies inside the 720S ointment can be a list price that pushes beyond £200,000, along with a slightly disappointingly muted exhaust note. An optional sports system definitely improves matters, but a Lamborghini Huracan and Audi R8 V10 both sound substantially more exciting and price substantially less. On balance though, the 720S Coupe is usually a brilliant solution to kick off McLaren's second wave of new-era supercars. 1.5-litre petrol, a vast improvement over older 1.33. Hybrid is well suited to urban driving. GRMN can be a very hot hatch indeed. Options open to Toyota Yaris buyers come inside the form of petrol and hybrid options. The diesel engines were discontinued when the automobile was updated in 2017. Petrol engine range. Kicking away from the petrol range is often a 1.0-litre VVTi 3-cylinder unit, producing 69 horsepower and 95 Nm of torque. Like all Yaris engines, it's not turbocharged, and this will complete the 0 to 62 mph sprint in the leisurely 15.3 seconds. It'll continue to reach 96 mph towards the top end, but it's highly unlikely you'll are able to do this. Best remain in town should you go for this Yaris. The undeniable fact that the little 3-cylinder 1.0-litre engine thrums away with your enthusiasm causes it to be so engaging to rev that you just almost forget for how long it's taking to propel you coming from a standstill to 62 mph, or, indeed, what amount damage you're doing on the quoted consumption and emissions figures from the process. All of which definitely makes the unit ideal to a predominantly urban environment. Lively, a 1.5-litre petrol. Most immediately appealing proposition for the people not al-wachi happy with hybrid driving styles, and shunning the CVT automatic transmission towards an acceptable 6-speed manual change, will be the fresh for 2017 1.5-litre VVTi. It certainly feels the liveliest throughout performance terms. It'll complete the dash from 0 to 62 mph in 11.0 seconds in 6-speed manual form, 11.2 seconds when you opt for that CVT automatic, on account of a considerably more useful 111 horsepower and 136 Nm of torque. Both of these versions will reach 108 mph at top speed. Sophisticated it can be in switching between different combustion cycles, Otto and Atkinson in case you're of any mechanical mind. From the interests of optimizing both economy and satisfaction, it consumes 10% less fuel compared to the 1.33-litre unit it replaces, while being nearly an additional faster 0 to 62 mph. Yet it is, however, vocal in case you go chasing performance, and never a very pleasing sound as well. It's raucous rather than very smooth sounding. On the motorway you'll be thankful because of its 6-speed manual gearbox and keep the revs low and noise down, but there's no getting away through the fact you'll want to make good usage of it in case you're planning an overtaking maneuver, as well as just to help keep up with traffic varying in speeds. There isn't a stop-start system provided with either from the conventional engines, reinforcing our view that, once the auto leaves the showroom, these systems' jobs, invariably just dropping CO2 by way of a notch or two for taxation purposes, are al-wachi done. Range-topping 1.8-litre GRMN. The hottest Yaris variant is very unusual from the small car segment because it's powered with a relatively large 1.8-litre engine, boosted by the supercharger as opposed to a turbo. In practical terms this means you recover throttle response plus a much more linear power delivery compared to smaller engines of the rivals. There's none with the low rev lag and sudden acceleration of your turbocharged motor. Instead, power builds over an appreciably wide band, taking up extra rev from about 3,000 revolutions per minute. Peak torque of 249 Newton meters comes in at 5,000 revolutions per minute, and you've got to stretch the engine in order to 6,800 revolutions per minute to unlock its 212 horsepower. Sprinting from 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 6.3 seconds, undoubtedly slowed from the need to shift from second to third gear. The manual box is workable but doesn't feel particularly slick. That's a shame. Given the Yaris's diminutive size and high power output, the GRMN pulls quite difficult throughout the rev range. You don't ought to drop a gear each time you want a burst of acceleration. That means you'll be able to work the fine chassis very, very hard indeed, something we'll expand upon from the handling section. Popular and unique hybrid. Toyota has lavished essentially the most attention within the 1.5 VVTi hybrid variant, but a painstaking have a look at further noise reduction measures could be better received were it not for any perceived not enough sound insulation, and the proven fact that the powertrain still creates a fair old bonanza of things in case you get for the power in order to elicit some real progress. Watch how drive an automobile. The Toyota hybrid. Under the bonnet is often a petrol engine mated to an electric motor, producing 100 horsepower and 111 Newton meters of torque. It's driven through a CVT gearbox, be going from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 11.8 seconds, sitting relating to the two regular petrol variants with regard to performance. I am able to. Successive generations of Toyota's hybrid technology have targeted a better synergy coming from a rise in engine revolutions and vehicle acceleration. Even so, the truth could be the revs still yell off throughout the dial. The best value faster compared to speedometer can get up to date. Either you'll mind this, and drive increasingly cautiously in order to prevent the din, or else you simply accept becoming part on the hybrid driving experience. And that's an experience which can be largely very pleasing, while you are not within a hurry. Acceleration figures are certainly not great, and feel even slower than you are on paper in the event you try to produce appropriately quiet progress. Do relax, though, and all sorts of is rather smooth and pleasant. Until, which is, you are considering braking. Truth is, regardless of how carefully you are attempting and modulate your use on the soft-feeling pedal, the regeneration system shackled brakes are likely to become unpleasantly grabby just before the auto comes to your standstill. Lifting away from the brake pedal as your vehicle comes to some stop inside manner of any well-taught chauffeur will alleviate this issue to some point, but does call for a fearsome higher level concentration unbecoming from the rest from the hybrid driving ambience. Toyota moved to great lengths to emphasize the volume of time you make payment for driving a hybrid with all the petrol engine put off entirely, and is also now deploying something known as a DriveCo box to aid retailers demonstrate the hybrid system's benefits under down-to-earth driving conditions. It seems the careful might find themselves under power only for some 55% of these journey time, as well as for about 37% from the total distance covered. Light as well as simple to drive. Standard car won't sate keen drivers. GRMN can be an absolute riot. Reinforcing its commitment to all or anything's future-proof, Toyota's 2017 dynamic tweaks to your Yaris range have largely been accessible to the hybrid model. It advantages of overhauls to top assembly, suspension setup, electrical energy steering, drive shafts and engine mountings within the quest for improved handling, ride quality and refinement. In truth, it's tricky to gauge the difference between your breathed-upon steering with the hybrid model understanding that carried over within the two conventionally powered variants. Suffice it say, though, how the helm is perfectly accurate, and pleasingly light for low-speed maneuvering and parking duties. As speeds build, however, the quality of communication there is the driver doesn't. Keener pilots need to look elsewhere. Traction levels, too, seem respectable, and the body control through corners is acceptable instead of admirable. Lob in the manual gear change that is not the slickest within the segment and, though all functions good enough, this isn't a motor vehicle which promises greater engagement or entertainment. A lot more you press it inside the manner of the Ford Fiesta. GRMN model arises the heat. Given the Yaris's design majors on comfort and requirements, you won't a bit surprised to hear how the GRMN model has brought to undergo some substantial modification to do the way it does. As well as significant additional bracing to stiffen the chassis, the GRMN features top-of-the-range Sachs shock absorbers to guarantee maximum grip from all of four wheels, without making the ride unacceptably firm. The whole car sits 24mm under a standard one, and although that helps combat body roll, that is still an amazing tall hatchback, and so you still have to deal with a bit more laterally movement compared to a more tied-down rival just like a Peugeot 208. Forged 17-inch alloy wheels reduce the level of weight each and every corner, and sit over huge 4-piston brake calipers efficient at hauling the Yaris up in an alarming rate. Most noticeable, however, would be the torsion limiter slip differential, which metes out power involving the front wheels, in particular when cornering hard. Put simply, this mechanism allows the leading tires to bite into a turn where an unequipped rival would lose traction and plow straight on. It's an excellent thing to push, the GRMN, with bags of character plus a responsive chassis that feels alive for the driver's inputs. Surprisingly, it's also quite forgiving, offering up lots of grip once you get a corner right, and lots of chances to take care of your line whenever you don't. Clear and logically presented dashboard. Multimedia screen is suffering from reflections. No Android Auto or Apple CarPlay integration. The adoption of any choice of two-tone interior finishes courtesy on the design bi-tone models comes with the welcome lift with an interior that, though well made and despite flashes of chrome and piano black, may come across as somewhat yawn-inducing. Build quality is not an issue, and also the instrumentation and switchgear layout is usually very good. We say generally, since the central multimedia touchscreen features a real downside to glare, especially on bright days. It either uses a cowl or re-angling in order that it's quicker to watch. It also feels as though it's closer towards the passenger as opposed to driver. That may cause problems after you want to function it quickly about the move. Navigation instruction itself is also somewhat slow. On every variant we tested, the location within the map would be a little behind reality, and also the nice lady was often calling turns after we'd passed them. The affordability premise of Toyota's Touch 2 multimedia technique is entirely laudable. Nevertheless, the system itself is often a little let down using a low refresh rate, and from the absence of swankier smartphone integration as offered because of the likes of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Yaris's from 2017 onwards benefit coming from a redesigned instrument binnacle using a 4.2-inch screen between your main set of dials, offering numerous menus to scroll through, presenting numerous data about how precisely the Toyota is performing. It's clear and to watch, and give the Yaris a modern feel. There are a handful of quirks, though. A few controls are placed down about the right from the driver's shin. If you would like to switch something off, such as being the lane departure warning, you should know whereby you're allowed to be pressing should you don't desire to take up your eyes off the highway for very long. GRMN model gains some highlights. The cabin on the range-topping hot hatch isn't radically different, but there undoubtedly are a few key improvements, namely the sporty wheel on the GT86 Coupe. Not only are these claims round, rivals by and large feature lumpy flat-bottomed versions, it's also purposefully small in diameter and grippy to hold onto. The dials may also be GRMN spec and appear very sharp, too. Lack of wheel adjustment restricts comfort. Too much mechanical noise inside cabin. Ride comfort is okay, but doesn't set benchmark. Hampering the Toyota Yaris's driving position, and thus impinging on comfort, would be the rather limited reach adjustment on the steering. This does imply that one has to stay upright to secure a good grip within the wheel. A pity, because otherwise the seats on some Yaris models are impressively comfortable. Sitting from the back, there's sufficient legroom and a good amount of headroom, rapidly stepped, stadium-style raised rear seat base level. What helps here can be a completely flat floor along the back, so a passenger inside middle seat won't have to take a seat with their knees around their ears. The charge of noise entering the cabin is, however, less successful versus the Yaris's packaging. weight saving is entirely laudable, and not, surely, in the expense of cabin quietness, particularly in a very hybrid where a great deal attention has become paid to reducing mechanical din. The overall impression is that the best value more sound insulation in a very range of cars which can be all admirably lightweight might be a bad thing. Engine noise penetrating the cabin verges for the excessive at high revs in the conventional 1.5-litre plus the hybrid. Wind noise levels are high in the door mirrors, in reality the whole door area on the whole, and anything loose on the highway surface clatters to the wheel arches. By using these racket 1 suspects there's little insulation in it at all. Ride quality, about the other hand, should satisfy most owners. The Yaris behaves itself respectably inside the urban environment, and sleeping policemen are dispatched with reasonable aplomb. But the body's propensity to fidget does rise at higher speeds, and, as being a motorway cruiser, the Toyota, though not uncomfortably so, never feels as well planted as being a Polo or Fiesta. GRMN model surprisingly comfortable. While it's a whole lot lower and firmer as opposed to standard car, you'll notice this most at low speed out and about. The GRMN's ride settles on faster roads. The problem then will be the increase in road noise. The GRMN's motor is very buzzy at high speed and we think this may get a bit draining after a few years. 6 familiar Toyota grades available. Design by tone models are specifically distinctive. High-performance GRMN joins range later. A revised trim-level structure offers a selection of 6 grades following contemporary Toyota norms. Active grade could be the entry-level, accompanied by Icon grade. Thereafter, grade options split into technology or aesthetics-based routes, Icon Tech and Excel representing MOS, Design and Design by Tone Rogues. Standard Toyota Yaris hatchback equipment. The Yaris range commences with active trim, coming with 15-inch steel wheels, Toyota Safety Sense, autonomous emergency braking, lane departure warning and automatic high beam, electric front windows and door mirrors, automatic wipers, Bluetooth phone connectivity, 6-speaker radio with CD player and USB port. Choose a Yaris hybrid in active spec, and you also gain from dual-zone climate control and projector headlights. Move up to your Yaris Icon for any more generous equipment tally. 15-inch alloy wheels, front fog lights, Toyota Touch 2 touchscreen infotainment system with DAB radio, air conditioning, reversing camera, cruise control, traffic sign recognition, leather tire and gear lever. Again, Yaris hybrid models gain extra kit, including dual-zone climate control, a leather handbrake lever and keyless ignition. Next up will be the Icon Tech, which builds on regular Icon with Toyota Touch 2 infotainment system with sat-nav, front parking sensors. Move up again to design grade, which focuses on style. 16-inch machine alloy wheels, honeycomb design for leading grille, rear spoiler, different seat fabric, privacy glass, black side sills. For extra curb appeal, the design by tone features black roof, pillars and door mirrors, rear LED lights, LED daytime running lights, color-coded dashboard trim, electric rear windows. As together with the rest with the range, the design and design by tone can be found in hybrid form, benefiting in the same extras because Icon hybrid. The Excel sits on the top in the range, together with the following equipment lavished onto it over and on top of the Yaris Icon. Part fabric, part Alcantara, leather seat upholstery, dual-zone climate control, rear LED lights, LED daytime running lights, electric rear windows, automatic headlights, auto-dimming rear view mirror, height adjustment to the passenger seat, chrome side sills, optional Toyota Yaris hatchback accessories. Toyota doesn't offer a great number of options within the Yaris, most of which are bundled into packs. The following packs are offered: parking pack, front and back parking sensors, protection pack, scuff plates for the door sills, mud flaps and rear bumper protection. Style packs, a selection of blue, red or green exterior design accents. Carbon style sold. An alternative chrome style pack may also be added, including chrome trim for your exhaust, rear fog lights surround along with the side sills. There can be a few individual options offered to add to your Yaris, determined by the model you're buying. From Yaris design models or longer, it is possible to add a panoramic sunroof along with the Toyota Touch 2 sat-nav system, while leather seats might be added to top-spec Excel cars, together with a convenience pack which comes with keyless entry and ignition and automatic folding mirrors. Full 5-star rating from Euro NCAP. Improved safety kit from 2017 facelift. Autonomous emergency braking standard. When crash tested because of the independent car safety experts Euro NCAP, the Toyota Yaris was awarded a 5-star rating. Since then, important things have improved further, not least using the standardization from the Toyota Safety Sense package in the 2017 facelift. In the event the Yaris was reassessed in the end of that year, it maintained its 5-star status in spite with the tests being more rigorous. This implies that every car provides you with an active safety suite which has a pre-collision system with autonomous emergency braking, lane departure warning, automatic main beam and, on models higher than the active entry-level grade, traffic sign assist. The pre-collision system utilizes a front-mounted laser to monitor the trail ahead, warning the motive force of an imminent collision risk and preparing the brakes to work with maximum efficiency the minute the pedal is pressed. If the trucker fails to respond to your warning, it will trigger autonomous emergency braking to slow the automobile and slow up the severity with the impact. Lane departure alert notifies the trucker with visual and audible warnings when the Yaris starts to deviate, looking at the lane without activation with the indicators. Traffic sign assist recognizes signs like speed limits without overtaking restrictions, presenting them around the multifunction display within the driver's instrument binnacle, activating a reminder light and buzzer when the speed limit is exceeded. Onboard safety has additionally been improved from 2017. Rear seatbelts now feature pre-tensioners and force limiters. The head restraints have already been redesigned to deliver better protection against whiplash injury, plus the shape from the curtain airbags continues to be revised. Child seat installation been specifically made easier with adjustments on the ISOFIX anchoring system. 5-door only from 2017. Not probably the most spacious of superminis. Adequate storage facilities. Small cars have small boots, right? Well, they are doing, but at 286 litres the practicality in the Toyota Yaris is limited weight against a number of admittedly larger rivals, most famously the Skoda Fabia and Kia Rio, with 330 and 325 litres of space respectively. Fold the 60 hours 40 minutes split rear seat over. Usefully, the ground is virtually flat once you do, plus the capacity expands to 768 litres. Again, it doesn't lead the segment, but, again, the Yaris is daintier than some of them. What you won't find inside Toyota are any novel storage solutions or especially clever ideas that don't show up in rivals. Sure, you will discover places on your takeaway coffees, door bins for placing components of, a sensibly sized glove box along with a handful of dashboard nooks for slotting coins, cards and smartphones. Not that it would have been a gain in practicality as 5-door Yarises were alwachi discounted, but on the 2017 facelift, 3-door derivatives were discontinued from sale. The Yaris does succeed for passenger space, though. It's taller than most superminis, meaning space from the rear will be quite good. On a long journey there may not be enough knee room, but it's perfectly adequate in case you don't mind the upright seats. One in the key points here may be the completely flat floor across the trunk, meaning a rear seat passenger won't get their knees up around their head. The Yaris isn't a large car. In fact, it's probably one from the shorter superminis currently on discount sales, as most of the company's newer rivals have started in size in all directions. Plus, with fairly flat sides and a lot of glass, it's a breeze to maneuver in tight parking spaces, with good visibility all round. That means you shan't struggle whether you're within the supermarket car park or squeezing it to the garage. Those large mirrors that create an amazing bit of road noise assistance with visibility too, so does the reversing camera on particular models. If you need a supermini having a big boot, you may desire to look elsewhere, as the Yaris's load area isn't essentially the most generous if you compare it with some of their closest rivals. The Skoda Fabia offers 330 litres, whilst the Seat Ibiza trumps utilizing 355 litres. Even the rakish Nissan Micra offers 300 litres of boot space, as the 354-litre boot from the Honda Jazz expands to 897 litres using the seats folded flat. However, space offered because of the Yaris is square and usable, and the back seats are really simple to fold on the back of the auto. There's just nothing particularly clever in regards to the load space, without the need of false floor for added space or extra pockets dotted about.